Secrets locked away from us in a vault, never to see the light of day. Things that we will never know from just watching the edited show put in front of us on television. Thankfully for us today, the official DVD and Blu-ray releases of each season of Survivor contain quite a lot of secrets that you would never know about from just watching the show on television, and that's what this video will be diving into today, as some of these secrets are game related, some are personal thoughts, some are just plain silly, and the silliest yet coolest of them all has to do with Coach, Courtney, and JT forming a band on Ponderosa. And yes, we will even catch up with a bunch of winners and find out what they did after they won it all. As long as it isn't part of the show that aired on television, it is fair game to be considered a secret. And while most of the secrets here are focused on season 20 Heroes vs. Villains, some of them do apply to Survivor as a whole and will be about other seasons. So with that, I want to thank you for watching what I make and ultimately supporting what I do here with liking, commenting, and sharing. For only a few bucks a month on Patreon, you can pick what videos I make, watch all of this channel's content early, chat with other fans of the show, and even get exclusive videos every month. Thank you for your support. To be clear, there is so much good stuff locked away in these extra features, especially in the secret scenes and the behind the scenes interviews that reveal strategies, thoughts of what was happening in the game, unedited thoughts on others, and why certain moves took place. It's a lot, and to feature every single thing would be far too much for one video, so I do recommend you watch them in full for yourself. However, this list contains the secrets that I personally found to be the most interesting. So with that, let's count all 59 of them in absolutely no particular order.
39 days, 20 people, 1 survivor.
Number 1. Let's begin our secrets with some of the players that Survivor wanted on Heroes vs. Villains but just couldn't get. The first of those being Corinne Kaplan from Survivor Gabon, which makes sense why they would want her since she's truly a villain, but Jeff has a pretty bold claim in my opinion about her morality as a person.
There's quite a few people that could be here had we gone with more characters. Corinne, certainly on the female villains, we offered it to her, she couldn't get out of her job. Probably the most evil woman I've ever met.
Number 2. The Villains tribe was stacked across the board, but for some reason Shane Powers didn't make the cut. I think he would have been better than Randy or Tyson, but it turns out he was actually bumped for a whole different player.
Shane Powers would be fantastic to have on the show. We wanted Shane, Shane wanted us. Just came down to slots, and ultimately Russell bumped Shane out.
Number 3. So what about Johnny Fairplay? Was he even considered, since he is probably the most notorious villain Survivor's ever seen aside from Russell Hantz? Well, according to Jeff Probst,
the one guy we did not consider bringing back, although I'm sure he will try to convince everybody we did, is Johnny Fairplay. Johnny Fairplay went from a villain to a quitter, and we don't invite quitters back. So he's done.
Number 4. A lot of these people who didn't make the cut are villains. I am guessing the show got all the heroes they wanted. However, there was one more villain who actually made it to Samoa and was set to be an alternate for the cast in case someone had to be cut at the last minute.
I actually flew for Heroes. I was on the plane for Heroes versus Villains. They played someone else instead, and I was actually an alternate. So they actually were in favor of playing someone else over me, but in the event that I guess someone pulled out or something happened, then they were going to play me. But I was actually relieved because that competitive switch on never really took place for me. So I believe all things work out for a reason, and that was my reason. So
Number 5. The tribal council set for this season is very cool, and I could imagine feeling a little vertigo if I were to stare straight down while standing on it. So how tall is it?
We are 40 feet high in the sky for the 10-year anniversary Survivor Tribal Council Tour.
Number 6. In some of these other secrets videos I have made, we have learned just how long it takes to build tribal and how many people are needed to do so. So what about season 20? Well, for Heroes vs. Villains, it took them 4 total months from start to finish to make it happen with 30 people working on it.
And for Tribal Council, we went all out with a Swiss Family Robinson design. 2 months to design, 2 months and 30 guys to build.
Number 7. This next secret is a bit weird, as this seemingly totally normal tribal council tour takes a complete 180 as Jeff Probst goes a bit off the rails and M. Night Shyamalan's us all with a skit that was funnier upon rewatch that I am just going to show you.
But some in the press have called me a diva. To that I can only chuckle and say, well, that's utter nonsense. Where's my flyer? It's not that I enjoy being the bad boy all the time. Okay, maybe I do. When you're the host, you're the boss, okay? This is my house. Tribal council is my path. You need to get out.
Number 8. There were a lot of great moments that took place at Tribal Council in the first 19 seasons of Survivor. If someone had quizzed me on what I thought Jeff's favorite one was, I think I would have guessed the time Eric was voted out in Micronesia after giving up his necklace, but wow, turns out I'm wrong. There's another totally separate moment that takes the cake for Jeff.
What's my favorite Tribal Council moment? Oh, that's not a question I haven't been asked for the last 10 years and 20 seasons. My favorite moment. Oh, you think you know what it is? Fine. Let's see if you're right. Ozzy, tribe spoken.
Number 9. One of my biggest gripes about this season in particular is how some storylines that could have easily been continued from past seasons were left hanging in favor of featuring Russell. The biggest one for me is how we didn't see the continuation of Jerry and Colby's storyline and how they became friends after 2 seasons of being bitter rivals.
Colby and I had an amazing time together. We spent many hours on the beach laying in the sun just talking about life, and we went fishing together all the time. And it was just bizarre to me. None of that came out because I know everyone was curious how we were going to get along. We got along great. And I mean, I'm really sad that that didn't come out in the show.
Number 10. The players on Heroes vs. Villains did not get to see Russell Hantz play on Survivor Samoa, but they were told he is a villainous character. Obviously, just look at what tribe he's on. So what else were they able to find out about his season when playing with him?
He wasn't allowed to talk about his season.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, so when Jeff called him, what did he call him, the top villain of all time? Yeah, I definitely reacted to that. I went, uh-oh, who is this guy?
Number 11. Randy is the most lovable curmudgeon we have ever witnessed on Survivor, at least that's my opinion. This must not apply to his real life though, as Jeff Probst drops a bomb about what he had planned for the loved one's visit if Randy got that far.
He doesn't have any friends. If we do a loved one visit, Randy doesn't have anybody to visit. Nobody.
Number 12. As we saw in Survivor All-Stars, Jeff Probst crushes on Boston Rob, and this only grows over time as you see Jeff talk about him outside of the game. But by the time Heroes vs. Villains rolls around, Jeff is totally enamored. And do you need some proof?
If Boston Rob won from the Villains, I would be elated. I would wear a Boston Red Sox cap for a year.
The truth is, I would play like a villain. I'd be wearing red, I'd be teaming up with Boston Rob, and we would run this game. And all those other yahoos, gone, 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 gone. I'd take all their torches with me too.
Number 13. Schmergen Brawl is one of, if not the toughest challenge the show has ever seen, causing injuries, evacuations, people stripped just getting kicked out of the challenge for breaking the rules, and a general hatred being brewed between people when playing it. So will we ever see it return in a future season?
A little bit of trivia, we had a challenge in Survivor Samoa. They were in a kind of a ring and they had to shoot baskets and try to score. And we lost a guy, Mike Barassi, was evacuated. We redid that challenge in Survivor Heroes vs. Villains, and James got injured. That challenge is now kaput. You will never see Schmergen Brawl again.
Number 14. Do you like the cast for Heroes vs. Villains? Are they what you would consider normal people, or are they absolute mad people who need to be locked up in an insane asylum? Well, if you chose the latter, Tyson would agree with you.
If you look at most of these people, 90% of them are borderline psychotic. No, maybe not psychotic, maybe that's a harsh word, insane.
Number 15. I have never even once considered Jenna Maraska as someone who should be on this cast. Who would she replace? Maybe Danielle DiLorenzo? Well, Jenna wishes she was playing, of course, and Sandra tells us exactly how far Jenna would go if she were to play.
You're coming too, aren't you?
No, I wish I was.
You're not coming?
No.
I thought you were coming.
I'm not coming.
I thought you were just special and interviewing
I'm
people,
not,
but you're coming.
No.
And if you would have been there, you'd probably be the first to go.
Number 16. We have heard some of the players Jeff wishes was on the cast for this season, but in a surprisingly honest take from him during the preseason press, a time when he's usually just hyping up the season, Jeff actually says he doesn't even like this entire cast.
Who are you especially excited to see back?
I was excited to see 80% of who we have now. There's a couple people I thought, I don't know if that's the right choice or not.
Number 17, when Boston Rob, Jeff's man crush, is voted out, we see him call Coach a little man. Boston Rob was clearly ticked that Coach threw away his vote instead of picking a side. Crazy enough is that Boston Rob isn't actually mad at Coach, as we learn, and says this was probably the best move for Coach's game.
You know, I wish Coach would have kept his word. I didn't think he would. At the end of it all, I called him a little man. You know what? I really don't have any hard feelings against him. I pretty much knew that he was going to do what he thought was in his best interest. And it was in his best interest to vote me out.
Number 18. So I'm not sure if this secret still holds up after Game Changers, though knowing Suri, it probably does, as she says she will play however many times as needed to win Survivor.
You know what? I never give up. I haven't won yet. If there's a 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, however many times it takes, I will probably do it again.
Number 19, Coach does this thing, and I'm trying to think of what I should call it. I guess we can say he unironically says ironic things all the time. For example, he will say that he is humble and in the very same breath say that he changed the game of Survivor forever. Well, here we have yet another ironic moment.
And you know, I really am not a very vindictive person, but I hope they get wiped off the face of the map, because that's what they deserve from start to finish. On the one hand, I'm actually relieved to be banished from the kingdom of idiots.
Number 20, Coach had plans for who he wanted at the end. In fact, his final 5 are as follows. Of course, he has himself, JT, Colby, Rupert, and Jerry. But in another move he keeps doing over and over in the bonus material is how he keeps referring to himself as King Arthur. So I guess his final 5 are the Knights of the Round Table.
Those 4 strong knights at the Last Supper, as you will. To have those 4 knights together would have been a fulfillment of my earlier dream to take the strongest to the end. And I at last was worthy to sit there and drink of the chalice of power and strength, as I proved in the challenges.
Number 21, Colby was the resident grump on this season of Survivor, taking that title from Randy in my opinion. In a lot of players Ponderosa videos, they say this same thing. They say Colby is just like not doing anything and doesn't seem very happy. Rupert even pinpoints the moment JT was voted out as when he thinks Colby stopped caring. However, Colby doesn't see it this way. He sees it quite the opposite.
There were definitely days when I was struggling to find the positive, when I was struggling to have fun. But then as the days went on and a lot of the nastiness got voted out, you know, the game turned around for me. And I realized once again what I fell in love with in this game, the challenge of it, the adventure of it.
Number 22, why didn't Russell Hantz earn the jury's respect? How did he not get a single vote from any of them? Well, of course, it's best to ask the jury themselves. And for Danielle DiLorenzo, aside from him turning on her, obviously, she says that Russell watches everyone all day long and makes those he is aligned with feel like they are in prison. And yeah, if that's true, I get it.
I've never seen anyone so psychotic. I mean, you feel like you're in prison when you're around him, because he's, especially when you're aligned with him, he stares at you all day long. He watches every single person, who they talk to, and then after they talk to them, he goes up to them and asks them what they talked about. And then he goes up to you and asks what you talked about to make sure the stories match up. I mean, he does this non-stop. He doesn't do any work around camp. He's horrible and he doesn't do anything in the challenges. He just sits there and stares at people to make sure that they're not trying to, you know, get him off.
Number 23, if you don't already know this from the Dalton Ross article, then this may blow your mind. But Coach, Courtney, and JT all form a rock band while on Ponderosa. Yes, a real rock band, which they were inspired to do because it just kept raining outside of Ponderosa and they were playing a whole lot of the game Rock Band.
Coach, myself, JT have formed a fake band called the Dragons.
My whole soul is bare.
Like, the jokes stopped yesterday, and from this morning on, it has been intense.
Number 24, you can find this entire music video on YouTube. I'll put a link in the description. But the members of Ponderosa not only form a band they call the Dragons, but they also make a music video for their first single as well. Courtney and Coach share the lead vocals, Coach plays drums via the Rock Band drum set, and JT is on lead guitar. Entertainment Weekly even has the entire EP uploaded on YouTube, but no music videos to go with those songs, sadly. Number 25. The question I have on my mind when discovering this is, how did they actually mix and make the songs? As it turns out, they recorded all their audio, even their instruments, with a Rock Band microphone. Yes, the same one used for the game. Number 26. James had a real bad streak of luck on every single one of his exits in Survivor, from being blindsided with 2 idols in his bag, to a finger injury in Micronesia, to a leg injury in Heroes vs. Villains. Despite all of this, would he play again? I'm not too sure after seeing him at the Ghost Island reunion, but here is what he says after being voted out of Heroes vs. Villains.
And whatever voodoo secret powers y'all seem to get me and to jinx me into injuring myself, hopefully that'll stop, but I'm down. Call me.
Number 27. Why did Jerry Manthe vote for Parvati instead of Russell like she said she was going to do during her final words? What changed in a matter of 24 hours that caused her to flip? This one is actually quite interesting, as I'm going to show these final words followed by her ride to Ponderosa, and then conclude with what she said after the show got done airing.
Even though he was totally responsible for my demise, and I can't wait to talk to him later and find out exactly what happened, and I think he made a horrible mistake. Parvati is not someone you should sit next to in the final 3, period. I'm leaning towards voting for Russell. I know a lot of people are really angry at Russell right now, but he's played an amazing game. She has a way with swaying people. Since day one, I've watched her like control other people's actions, and I was just like, whoa, what is going on with you? So I mean, I have a mad respect for her now. I almost don't know who to vote for. I said Russell, but at the same time, I'm starting to think about it already. Like, if she has that kind of control over somebody to make them make a bad decision, that's kind of a good reason to vote for them to win.
But he lost my vote for one reason, because he does not know how to be a humble, gracious player. He'll never win. And Russell was never in control of anyone.
Number 28. Going into the finale, who did Sandra think was going to win it all? Not her.
So for me, it was a shocker because I thought it was a 5-4 with Parvati having 4, Parvati having 5 and me having 4. I didn't know that I had gotten 6 and she had gotten 3. So it was a shocker.
Number 29. For Russell, he tries to play it off like he never thought he was going to win. He's so humble. But Parvati says, no way, dude. You were claiming the whole time that you were going to win, and now after officially losing, you have changed your tune.
You always thought you had it in the bag. What happened?
I knew I was going to make it to the end. I never say I'm going to win. I say I probably won't win at the end, but I'll get there.
Oh. You said you were going to win every single second.
I'm a win next time.
Number 30. Randy, despite being the curmudgeon who is not very good at the game, is not an idiot. In his final words, he knows exactly what everyone needs to do in order to succeed.
At this stage of the game, it was definitely a mistake for this tribe not to vote out Parvati, but I hope it comes back and haunts each and every one of them.
Number 31. During Rupert's final words, he says he will not be voting for Sandra. She will not get his $1 million vote, which is of course ironic given how he does the exact opposite thing when it comes time to do so. But to give him credit, he does say during his time at Ponderosa that he now realizes Sandra would have helped the heroes had they not screwed it all up. It's still funny though.
I know for a fact I won't write Sandra's name down again for another $1 million. I'm honored that I get to write your name down again and give you $1 million. Love you.
Number 32. After being voted out 7 years later than his first time on Pearl Islands, Rupert still takes it just as hard as that time. Rupert still has that same anger problem when someone votes for him, as he says he wants to beat the crap out of those who voted for him. And then in an even stranger moment, he says he would like to break Parvati's toes and see if she could withstand it like he did. Why?
But man, if looks could kill last night, you might have taken someone out after Jeff Probst extinguished your torch. What was going on through your mind?
When I gave that mean mug back at them, when I gave them my death stare to Russell and Sandra and all them people, that was my one release of anger. I wanted to grab my torch and turn around and just beat the heck out of them all. Watching Poverty go through those challenges with me and be that one that always was the one beating me. Now, I'd love to break her little toes and see how good she could make it through the game with a couple broken toes like I had, but The girl showed she's tough.
Number 33, Russell is at his peak arrogance following his loss on Heroes vs. Villains. His ego knows no bounds. It's so out of hand. It gets to the point where he's literally comparing himself to people that you and I know who have won a ton of championships, and says that now he's too good for CBS, and if they want him, maybe, if he feels like it, he'll come back.
If I play again, if Michael Jordan plays again in the survival world, which I don't know if I can, because why should I? I'm the best. The people tell me I'm the best, so maybe I should step down and retire. I'm strong enough to do that. If I play again one day, if I decide to give CBS my graces, which I probably won't, if I decide, then they're gonna have to freaking take me to a lot of dinners.
Number 34. What does Sandra think about Russell after finally getting to watch him play in Samoa and then see the edited version of Heroes vs. Villains? Apparently, he isn't any better than another notorious villain she has played against.
I hate Russell like I hated Johnny Fairplay.
Who's worse?
Russell.
Number 35. Parvati may have been able to fake interest in Russell while on the island, but afterwards she is so over him. And even makes this clear as day when she talks about him eating up screen time and brainwashing America.
Well, I think Russell kind of hogged every minute of the airtime of the show. And that's probably why, because America saw Russell's face every second that they were watching Survivor. And all Russell says is, I'm Russell Hantz. I'm Russell Hantz. So it kind of gets stuck in your mind like a broken record over and over and over. And so I think he has brainwashed America.
Number 36. If you watch the Micronesia Secrets video that I made, then you know that Parvati said no more Survivor. She was done after winning it all. It's funny given how she has now been back multiple times, but even after Heroes vs. Villains, she was swearing up and down that this is her last time playing.
Would you do it again?
I'm done with Survivor.
Totally done. You don't want to go for the full 1 year mark?
No, because honestly, like, I am retiring my crown. I am abdicating my throne.
Number 37. Coach had a load of unearned confidence going into this season. We already know he thinks of himself as King Arthur, and we saw him want to slay everyone and trust no one, but this was not all an act. He really thought this was his time to win it all, as he was so confident that he didn't bring any toiletries with him on this trip because he thought he was just going to go to the end and he wouldn't need them.
Pay for yourself and enjoy. Compliments of Sears, life well spent. I was so confident that I would win this game that I did not bring any toiletries.
Number 38. Coach does not understand why he was voted out. It's pretty obvious from all the bonus footage that he thinks he is truly at zero fault for being voted, and there was nothing he could have done, but as we both know, he's mistaken.
It was through no fault of my own that I got voted out, and I didn't make a big mistake. I didn't make an ass out of myself. And so I think I got to that piece today.
Russell, what's up, Parsifal? Russell, boom, right there. Hey, buddy, how you doing? Listen, I just wanted to tell you that I really don't respect the game. Bam!
Number 39. Why does one pick what they wear when sitting on the jury? Is it just to feel comfortable? Is it to make others jealous? Well, for Coach,
most of the time people get in there and they're like, "Do-do-do, hee-hee, hi guys, how you doing? I look like a normal human being." Not for me. I want everybody to feel in the game that they're not worthy of my vote, ever.
Number 40. At Ponderosa, Coach asks Courtney, hey, did you vote for me? Which she lies and says, nope. And he believes this hook, line, and sinker.
How'd they get me off? Or did you get me off?
No, they wanted to get you off before.
Really? Who was they?
Parvati and them, and so then they wanted you, Parvati wanted you off, and so then I guess, well, Russell didn't vote for you. Who knows? And it doesn't matter at this point, you know. At least he made the jury.
Number 41. When does the Russell hate train begin with those at Ponderosa? I was wanting to know, and I found out because the first and largest telltale sign is when Amanda arrives, and it is clear that these four have no love for him whatsoever.
Yeah. Russell? Oh my God. I know.
I hate, like...
We all hate him.
He has got... I didn't realize when I was there, but like... Is he not the nastiest person in the world? Like, if Russell was to come here tonight, I mean, it would be complete silent treatment.
Number 42. A possible romance that fizzled far too soon. Even Amanda, who never shared a tribe with Coach, could tell that Jerry liked him from just the way she talked about him.
The way she would talk about you, though, like, there's something going on. Because I was like,
she liked her a little bit.
She didn't tell me anything. All she told me was that
yes, she did like you.
Yeah. She talked about you quite a bit the other day. She loves Coach. I'm like, I'm gonna have to meet this coach.
Oh, shoot.
She was excited about Coach.
Number 43. I can understand though why Jerry and Coach cooled it down on the romance, since it seems like people were just giving them a hard time constantly on and even, as we will see, off the island. Too bad, as I think they would have been a fun pair.
People actually thought we were like on the beach having sex. That's what they made it out to seem like.
Funny.
Randy
and then
was
Tyson
like,
got in on it, and then it was over, and we were like dying laughing. I mean, I don't know why anyone ever takes me seriously, but that was really fun. Then she was like, "Woo!"
Number 44. Most people who come to Ponderosa are welcomed with open arms and a friendly greeting. As we saw in the Cagayan Secrets video that I made, Cass was ripped to shreds, but that is an anomaly and probably was expected for her. But it's truly not the norm. Well, for Candace, she is receiving the anomaly. She's not well liked, as she gets the silent treatment upon arriving at Ponderosa.
So I walked in, and nobody even looked at me. They were just like, "You don't exist."
There definitely wasn't a party waiting to hug her at the entrance, that's for sure.
Number 45. It doesn't help Candace's case when the game is done, and there's no need to lie, and yet she still does lie about why she made the decision to flip-flop on her lines. She isn't clear at all, and it's just so obvious, and no one is buying it.
I made the decision because Sandra kept flip-flopping. It was not a good decision. I did not want Amanda going home. Was it her idea not to go with us, or you last night? She said she didn't trust you, so she didn't want to go with you. I didn't waver until I thought that this didn't have a chance.
It took Candace about an hour and a half to explain a story that made no sense. If anybody's lying, that's a telltale sign if you ask me. I don't really care, I think it's funny.
Number 46. The Ponderosa video showed the entire jury dressing up for tribal council wearing their homemade Dragons gear. That's right, they made gear for their rock band. However, the Ponderosa videos do not explain why when they actually get to tribal, they're all changed into like this generic clothing, except Coach, who just looks super annoyed while wearing his shirt. The Dalton Ross article all about the Dragons band explains this, but it's just a strange occurrence to be sure.
Coach, Courtney, JT, Amanda, and Candace voted out at the last tribal council.
Heads up, the remainder of these secrets are not about heroes versus villains directly, but are instead from a variety of specials and interviews that took place while Survivor was celebrating their 10th anniversary. Since they are from the same time as this season, I am including them here. Just wanted to give you a heads up. Number 47. Richard Hatch was sent to jail for not paying his taxes on his winning money from Borneo, along with his subsequent appearances after the show. This was well known back in the day, and on his YouTube channel he does explain this, but it is still crazy to think he was sentenced to 51 months in prison over this, but got out for good behavior after only 36 months from May 2006 to May 2009.
He lost a battle with the IRS over taxes due on his Survivor winnings, and as a result was sentenced to 51 months in federal prison.
Number 48. Elizabeth Hasselbeck, aka Elizabeth Filarski from season 2, has Survivor to thank, as she was suffering from a disease that probably would have killed her but was discovered and saved her life due to the show.
It's ironic because I had to go to the Australian outback, literally starve, to actually start feeling better and realize that all of my symptoms prior to Survivor were undiagnosed celiac disease, an autoimmune disease where your body literally cannot process barley, oats, wheat, and rye, the protein found in them called gluten. Survivor, though it almost killed me, ended up truly saving my life.
Number 49. This moment isn't really a secret, and you know how in each of these videos is always something that's not really a secret, but just more of the funny side, and this one's it, as Colby makes a snide remark about Jeff Probst.
Probst. Snuffing the torch. Man, I'd like to snuff that guy's torch.
Number 50. After Parvati won her $1 million on Survivor Micronesia, she started a charity for girls.
In addition to globetrotting, she is dedicated to teaching punches and crunches with her boxing charity, Knockouts for Girls.
Number 51. What the heck has Chris Doherty been up to since Vanuatu? Since he has never been asked to the show, I have always wondered this. Well, here we see him hanging out with Chad and Julie from Vanuatu, and we learn that he got married at the Daytona 500. He still works for the government, though he claims he will be retiring around 2020, maybe 2021. Not sure if that actually happened. He built a new house, and he bought himself a Harley.
Julie's gonna go swimming here in a minute after I push her in.
I brought you here to a place where my dad has we have a family business, and it's an excavation business, and my dad builds wetlands, and what there is there's soil and water conservation departments throughout the United States in each state. This is nature. The government funds for people that want to donate land to programs to preserve the wildlife, to preserve our soils and our waters.
Number 52. Vesapia at this time hosted a local show, wrote online columns, and does some motivational speaking.
Survivor changed my life very little. And I say that because my husband and I both chose to not to allow it to change our life. I mean, I still shop at Walmart.
Number 53. Bob Crowley did something I'm a bit jealous of since I don't have the skill set to do so, but I would love to do this, as he built an entire house in Maine of recycled materials.
I did it primarily because I didn't have any money at the time, and I figured you could build a house for nothing if you just went out and collected it. And so I just collected a whole bunch of stuff, you know, flooring, windows, doors, and I built the house out here.
Number 54. Yule, our darling Yule. He started a non-profit organization for battered women. This is all after, of course, he won Cook Islands, and he did it hand in hand with his castmate Becky. And he can also thank his castmate Brad for introducing him to his future wife.
I feel really lucky. I think since Survivor I've had a lot of opportunities to do things that I really wanted to do. I've worked with a lot of cancer organizations, leukemia organizations, bone marrow organizations to try to increase the number of people who've become registered to become bone marrow donors.
Number 55. Ethan Zahn and Jenna Maraska used to be the other Survivor couple everyone knew apart from Rob and Amber, and you can tell Ethan's a bit uncomfortable with this one, but they both posed nude for PETA in an effort to stop people from wearing fur.
You know, posing nude for PETA was not my first choice of advertisements, but Jenna, my girlfriend, is very passionate about animal rights, and I really support her in everything she does.
Number 56. After Earl Cole won, he started a foundation, and his company created a Facebook application called VoiceBox. Now, out of curiosity, I looked this up to see if it was still a thing that I could use, but it seems to be defunct as of 2013.
I was able to start a foundation, the Earl Cole Fund, which is for Legg-Calvé-Perthes disease, which is a bone disease I actually had as a kid. I'm just glad that I'm able to use any type of celebrity to bring awareness to that. My company developed a Facebook application called VoiceBox, so I definitely want everybody to check it out. I think it might be one of the biggest things on Facebook to come out.
Number 57. After Ars won Exile Island, he got really into music, but he also started a hat company called Tundra Gear, and I went and checked this one out as well, and sure enough, it's still around to this day. You can order hats from it.
He's working hard for the money as CEO of his own Russian hat company.
I know it's genius in Southern California, Winter Hat Company, right? It's called Tundra Gear.
Number 58, Brian Heidick. I am surprised TV Guide got anything from him, but his segment of information is quite short, as he says he bought some cars, and then TV Guide takes the rest of the time to straight up just dunk on him.
Allegedly shooting a neighbor's puppy with a bow and arrow. Looks like winning doesn't always give you the best aim in life.
Number 59. At the Survivor 10-year anniversary party, we learned something I had no idea about, as Alex Bell from season 6 married Kim Powers from season 3. Wait, what? Survivor is far more successful than The Bachelor at creating couples.
In the aftermath, actually, I met my wife, who was also on Survivor.
So sorry, I forgot to say, I met my husband.
Right? She met her husband because she was on Survivor.
I met my husband because of Survivor.
So which secret blew your mind the most? Comment below and let me know. Thanks for watching, and if you like the content you see here, then please consider supporting me and this channel on Patreon. Your financial support makes this channel possible. So thank you, and thank you for watching.